So tonight, guys, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to read through a bunch of different books. Going to talk about mainly like serpent seed and like what the serpent actually means in the different parts of the Bible when you use the Strong's Concordance. And oddly enough, I was going through all my books when I was cleaning my shelf not too long ago, and I opened up to like all these different verses that had to do with hold on one second. All these different verses that had to do with hey Danny. So Jackie is here. She's just doing the chat. So she's sitting next to me. Jackie, you can say hi.
Hi.
So Jackie's doing the chat. It's just hard to like on a camera phone. It's hard to have like in this view for it to be like two people on, and I don't want to do like the side view thing. It looks like crap. So hey, outside, what's up? Just gonna mute that. Oh, it's fine. So I was gonna do hey Christian, Dorothy, what's up? Dorothy said hi. Jackie's gonna be in chat. So if anybody has questions tonight, Jackie's right here next to me, and she is gonna do any answers to questions or whatever. If anybody wants to read a certain book or something like that, or topic or whatever, we're gonna do that. So one of the books that I have out tonight is Signs and Symbols, which is super interesting. As you can see here, this is just the first page, and I'm sure if you looked at that, you could come up with all different things you've seen in modern day that are like these symbols and stuff like that. So, hi Tammy. Lewis, how are you? So, first page, just going to the first page alone, this right here is like all the Greek mythology, like I forget what it's called, the zodiac. And what happened was Jesus, you can listen to this on YouTube, there's like a 2-hour video on it, but Jesus was written in the stars from the get-go, and Greek mythology copied it all. And I was just watching a video yesterday about how an Asian emperor that was alive during the time of Jesus Christ, they knew about Jesus coming, and they talked about how they knew that all of the sins of mankind had been forgiven because of the man that came. Like, how would they know that? It was like crazy. Hold on, I'm just waiting for more people to come on before I start going through all the different books. I'm just gonna show some of the different stuff that's in this. But I mean, this is crazy. Like, look at how cool of a picture that is of ancient Egypt. Like, just amazing. Some of the stuff in this book is just pretty awesome. And look at this one. This one looks, who does that look like? That looks like just like Obama. Even Obama said it looked like him when he went there to Petra the Rock or whatever. Chosen by Yahweh, how are you tonight? Thanks for coming. Like I said, just going to wait for a few people to get on. I'm just going through this book just to show some of the symbols that are in it. If you went through it, it goes through like all the different countries. It has like pictures of different things like the lotus, what the lotus means in like Buddhist mythology and stuff like that. Whenever I say like mythologies, because I don't give credit to any other false religions except for the religion of Christ. And I don't mean modern day Christianity. I mean the old Christianity, which is going to be restored hopefully by us. I know it will be by us. I just don't know when, because people just seem to not really care as much as they honestly should. I don't mean you guys, I just mean like the world at large. There's so few people that are seeking for truth, and oftentimes when they find the truth, which sets you free, you know, they don't they don't feel at rest because they're still like searching for that thing, and it's simple. It's literally Jesus Christ, and he's the only thing that can set you free. And recently I had not to get into my personal life too much, but like today was a crazy day. I've been at a job for about 2 months, and this job has just been a hellish nightmare. And I was setting appointments for IT people, and at this job, they almost every single company that is currently in the IT field is using artificial intelligence for everything. And I didn't know this when I took this job. And as I started to get into it more and more, I realized how much AI is taking over every single thing. The telephone industry, like everything. And the telephone industry is us talking on the phone. And it's copying and mimicking, like it's taking full transcriptions. There's a company called Dialpad now that the AI takes every single thing that you say in your cell phone, your chat, your text, your office phone, and it transcribes it automatically so you don't have to do it anymore. And there's like, this goes like way too in depth for what I want to have a conversation about right now, but if you've looked into the metaverse at all and like what they're doing, like they're selling real estate in the metaverse, which is like the fake world. It's almost like video games. The VR world has entirely, yeah, Tammy, exactly. So like, I hope I know like you guys know what I'm talking about, but like, Zach, thanks for coming, buddy. So I know that you guys know what I'm talking about, like, but I didn't know how much it had taken over. I even did a video that I put on TikTok. I'll try to upload it here. I think it's still on my phone. But it was just me showing you where I worked in Manchester, New Hampshire, downtown, and the mill buildings, because I think they're cool architecture. But then as I'm doing it, there's a robot like going by, like that delivers the mail and stuff like that. And when I was in freshman year of Christian school, we did the robotics competition for Dean Kahneman, who invented the Segway. And we went to his house and got to see his helicopter pad and all the arcades he built as a kid and stuff inside of his house. It was pretty awesome. But our specific robot that we built to like throw tubes onto a post or whatever, like whoever did it the best won, our robot was called Enoch. And I didn't even know who Enoch was at the time when we did that. But I guess my principal had known. And my high school freshman year, I went to 3 different Christian high schools. In my freshman year, we only had 30 kids in the whole entire school. And so it was weird, but it allowed us to do a lot of things that most schools don't do. So we went to Washington, D.C. and stayed at a hostel. And like I saw hookers fighting at 2 a.m. in the morning, like out the window. Like I've seen so many things at that school like that you would never see at like a normal school. You just like, because there's too many kids to control the situation. But it was an interesting experience, but it was also very eye-opening that in every single Christian school that I went to, every single one of them, there was a teacher that was taking advantage of a young girl or young boy, and that was supposed to be Christianity. And it says specifically in Barnabas that like the ways that human beings are and the way that you should not be. And we should not be imitators of the world. We should be a set apart people. And that's what I'm talking about true Christianity, is to be a holy people. And the only reason that you should be doing anything like in a sexual orientation is if you're married, and that's it. And even God talks about like to even remain a virgin if possible, or when you become a widow to not have sex. And that's, Jesus said that. And it's interesting, he said that because a lot of people say that Joseph and Mary had children. Like there's so many people on TikTok right now, like this moment right now, that, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Danny. The metaverse is nuts. Like I'll go into that too in a second too. So there are so many people that preach, that are like 40,000 followers of these people on TikTok, that they tell the people that Mary and Joseph had children after Jesus, and they did not. Mary was a virgin until she died. And Joseph was a widow that was a virgin after he became, like, he did not have sex with anyone after his wife died, but he did have children, and that's who, like, James and Jude and the other people were that were sitting at the dinner table with Jesus Christ. So when people say that, I mean, you could say, oh, who cares, right? You could say, oh, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, because it's not the truth. The truth is what Jesus is, and the truth is what sets you free. And the truth is why this world is so messed up, is because people have taken the truth, lied about it, twisted it, or just simply nullified it so that, like, and said, oh, that doesn't matter, who cares? They say flat earth doesn't matter and who cares? That's the way God made the world. It does matter. And if it didn't matter, why do they lie about it? It's just that simple. If it doesn't matter, then why the cover up? You're not supposed to take, like, a lamp and hide it. You're not supposed to cover it with something. You're not supposed to put it under a couch or, like, hide it away. You're supposed to be we are supposed to be the lamp and the truth that people see, and you're supposed to preach it, and who cares what other people think? And if you're a Christian, you should be following the 10 Commandments, and the 10 Commandments are simple as two. And the 2 commandments are to love God your Father with all your heart, mind, and soul, and to love your neighbor. And if you love your neighbor, you're not going to do the other 10 Commandments that say all those bad things that you shouldn't do, like committing adultery and lying and fornicating, coveting, and all these things that people do all day long. And it happens to me all day long. People covet everything that even when I get free stuff, people covet it. I literally got a trowel the other day for $1, and I knew that it was a nice one because it had a stacked leather handle, whatever. I just noticed I could have bought the whole box of tools for $10, but I just took this one tool because I just wanted that one. I bought it for $1, and I cleaned it up, and then I polished it, and I looked on eBay, and it was worth $50. And my dad was so pissed that I had found something like treasure out of crap. He was mad about that. And it's just petty. It's just petty. People covet things that just to covet them. There's no real value to it. It's just that's the way that sinful nature has made us as human beings. And the only way to cure that thing, that evil that infects all human beings, is Jesus Christ. Because he isn't like that. He's not like that. He doesn't care. Everything belongs to him. And this world that we are in right now, is a world that we need to pay attention to, and we need to focus, and we need to go through these trials and tribulations, because that's our test. And when you take yourself and you put that in the metaverse, where you are not fulfilling your test, and you're not running your race, and you're not trying to, like, compete against the devil like Job did, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do here. And you are taking yourself and your mind and your heart and your soul, and you're putting it into something that is the devil's world. He's making the metaverse to be a place where you can take all that God has given you and hide it away in that place and have a false reality, because your body is still going to be sitting on your couch all day long while your eyes and your ears and your mind are patched into Elon Musk's Neuralink. That is a fake thing. It's not a real thing. Exactly. Pick up your cross and walk. Follow Christ. And at this point right now, we had like 9 billion people in the world, and about half of that has now done something where they are manipulated within their DNA. And I am not one to say whether those people can still go to heaven or not, and I'm not going to have that debate right now. But just think about if you allowed yourself to take your holy temple and allowed something to come into that holy temple. And I don't know if I ever said this online, because I haven't been on live in a while because of just that job I was doing. I just had no desire to be on the phone or in front of a computer or nothing for a little while. And I'm happy, honestly, that I'm not going to be dealing with that soon, because I'm going to get it, like, hopefully I'm going to be working at a different job back doing construction soon. So praise the Lord God for getting me out of that situation, because I thought it was going to be something that would help me, and it didn't help me at all. It was horrible. And there are 2 shows right now that I want to discuss. And I'm not going to put them on here because I don't want to get like a violation or anything like that. But there's a show called Halo. It's modeled after the video game. My son was so into Halo. Jackie and I used to play Halo. Like, it was a fun game to play, and I didn't even think of this when I was playing it. I never realized this for some reason. I always thought it was like, oh, you're a warrior fighting against aliens. I never thought about the fact that the voice that's in his head is AI. I never thought of it before. The heads-up display that is inside Master Chief's mask, and if you've ever played this game, you know what I'm talking about, but he's like a warrior basically, and he's inside of a bodysuit, and I never realized it's hooked up to like computer. There was a show back in the day, a cartoon called Exo Squad, and aliens overtook their whole planet, and the aliens were blue and had 3 fingers, and Exo Squad was like these humans that had this hookup in the back of their neck like the Matrix, and that's what neural link is. So they hook up to the machines, and then they can fight the aliens, and that is that's the final plan. That's why they've never divulged aliens to people, is because their master plan, and this is why it's so important that they tell you that the earth is round, is because the earth is really flat. And hell is below us and heaven is above us. But there's a dome that keeps us all in here. We are stuck here with the fallen angels. And they live in the ocean. That's why we've only explored 5% of the ocean. So when they come and do the final play, the strong delusion, they're going to pretend like they came from outer space, but they didn't, because they can't penetrate the dome. So they're going to come from the ocean, which it says in the Testament of Solomon that they live in the ocean. Beelzebub lives in the ocean. And Beelzebub said, Solomon told Beelzebub to go get his son, and he said that he would not go get his son. Who was his son? And he says it's something weird. He says his son was learning or something like that. How long do you think it would take, and this is the hypothetical thing, but hear me out. How long do you think that it would take for Obama to learn to speak backwards if he's a spirit inside of a holy temple, which is a human body? If that's the case, if he's the abomination, the spirit of the abomination that lives inside of a holy temple, and I'm not saying that there isn't a third physical temple being built, I'm just saying, hear me out. If Obama's physical body is like a replica of Akhenaten, and inside of that replica of Akhenaten is the spiritual, like the spirit of Nimrod, who made all the people. This is what they said about Nimrod, is that he was the person that made everybody rebellious against God. And Nimrod ruled for 200 years on the earth, like 180 years on the earth, and built Babel during that time. And he tried to murder Abraham, and it was written in the stars Abraham was coming. And if you read most of the Bible, Jesus says that he would have destroyed Israel so many times if it wasn't for the promises he made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, exactly, Nimrod had the garments of power. So if he had the power over like animals and demons and all that stuff, and it made him like super powerful. And so and Solomon had them as well. And that's why Esau was running to get porridge or whatever and gave up his birthright, because he had just cut off Nimrod's head and took the garments, and that's what he gave to Jacob as part of the birthright or something like that. But we've read that on the channel before, up to chapter 17. But if you think about this strong delusion that they've been playing on people, if you think about that, like, why didn't, if they make movies about like Independence Day 1 and 2, if they made movies like The Day After Tomorrow or whatever with Tom Cruise, Oblivion with Tom Cruise, and Scientology is all into this stuff because L. Ron Hubbard was with Jack Parsons or whatever, and the other people that did that satanic magic in the desert that opened the portal they can't close, which is where Area 51 is now. So if that's the case, then it kind of makes, and I think in Walt Disney was part of that as well, and then and Aleister Crowley, exactly. So if you think about why they haven't allowed people to, they give you all this movies and stuff like that to make you think about it, but then they don't tell you that it's real. even though the military knows it's real, and they took all that information, and they signed that agreement saying that that's why the president wrote, "In God we trust," on our monies, because he knew that the alien stuff was real, and he said if people found out, they'd believe God wasn't real. But it doesn't make me think that. It makes me think he's more real. It just makes me think that the fallen angels are real too. But people have seen aliens, they've seen Bigfoots, they've seen all these things that you can't explain, like the Predator, like where he can camouflage and stuff like that. You see the people on TV, like the presidents and the different, celebrities freezing up, like Eminem freezing up. You've seen Al Roker freeze up. You've seen all these people, and they have like fake necks, like right under their shirt. Like you can see, like there's like a like thing sticking out of their shirt, like their head's fake, right? So if you think about all that stuff, why the deception? And I've heard this from multiple people, even people that are fake, that like they're part of the problem. They just are putting it out there to perpetuate the lie. Like they're part, like it's like the blue and red pill, but they're both from the same coin. You know what I mean? Like Trump and Biden are both from the same thing. MAGA is the fifth level of Satanism. And the Disney castle is piercing the dome. They show you the firmament on it. When you wish upon a star, all these things will come to you. When you wish upon a star, that's a fallen angel, because they go up to the firmament and they listen to what's happening in heaven, the decrees in heaven. And they fly up there for so long that they can't fly anymore because their wings are tired, so they fall and they burn up people's cornfields. And this is from the mouth of a demon who was called forth by Solomon. And if you don't believe that Solomon could control the demons, then why does it say when Jesus came that one greater than Solomon has come? Because Jesus could cast out demons with just his words, because he's the one that the demons have to go up to at 2 a.m. in the morning and worship God. And he is God. And he says when he was talking to John in the cave while he's on the cross dying, and he's also talking to John in the cave, he's like, how are you talking to me at the same time? He goes, don't you understand? I'm up with, my spirit is up with my Father in heaven. At the same time, I'm talking to you right here, and the same time I'm talking on the cross. And Jesus says, if you lift up a stone, there will I be. So what does that mean? It means that Jesus is literally all the things that you see. He is everywhere. This is a matrix. This is a matrix, and he is in control of everything. And that's why when you pray and you ask for things and they happen, it's because he's in control of everything. I hold you in the palm of my hand. And his hands have holes in them from the nails that kept him on the cross. And he is everywhere. And it's not a new age thing. I am telling you that when you take your mind and your heart and your soul and you're in this matrix that we live in, that he made to test us, to choose between Satan and God, and people have found out that this matrix is true, and there's government documents about the fact that they know that this is a matrix, and yet they still choose to take the power of demons by sacrificing children and things like that, because that's how they get their power. There is power in the blood. That's why Jesus had to die, because his blood covers us from our sins. There is something in blood, which is why they are doing what they're doing in the world right now. They want to change things. And Obama destroyed the Twin Towers because he's related to the Bushes that did it. And then they did a satanic ceremony around that. And now when you go to New York, there's two giant black holes in the ground with water going into them. That feels satanic. I've been there before. And then you see this one giant tower that looks like a syringe, and it's signed by Obama, the Antichrist, that says, we will this, we will this, we will this. That we, www is 666, the same as a website. So what is it telling you? It's telling you that he's going to build back stronger, and he doesn't need the two bloodlines anymore, and he wants to make them one. That's why they cover their eye to make it one. They're, like Kleck said, they're killing the sheep that's inside of you, because there's one good part of you and one bad part of you, because you feel that. Don't you feel that? Don't you feel that there's a goodness in you and a badness in you, and every time you talk to somebody, there's a potential for them to be good and a potential for them to be bad? And most people that you talk to, it's like 95-5, like they're mostly evil, and they only allow for a very small portion of goodness to come out of them. And then when they talk about it, they act like it's their own morality. If it was your own morality, that's not the way to judge according to things, because people think it's okay to murder babies. People think that's fine because it's you, until it comes out of you. It's just like they act like it's a tumor or something. But as soon as it comes out of you and it starts learning and stuff like that and it starts doing stuff, oh, it's my friend now. I've seen people in the capital of New Hampshire with those pink hats on that are like the liberalism, like it's my body, my choice hats. And they're talking about Roe versus Wade, trying to overturn it right now. They're not trying to do that for a good reason. They're trying to do that so that you don't have that choice anymore. Your body is not your choice anymore. So they're trying to overturn Roe versus Wade at the same time that on May 22nd they're going to let the WHO sign something that negates the entire United States Constitution and all the constitutions of every country so that they can make decisions for you. Because the military industrial complex is 9% of the GDP. The healthcare industry is 13% of the GDP. That means that the healthcare industry is almost double the size of the military industrial complex, which is what has entirely destroyed the nations of the Middle East. And Albert Pike said that there needs to be 3 world wars before they can institute Lucifer as God. That has happened since 9/11. That war has been fought. So that means that all the people that have been murdered using bombs made by Raytheon in Massachusetts and other companies that have military contracts in this state, that is nothing compared to the power of the healthcare industry. That's, if I wasn't a Christian and I didn't believe in Jesus Christ, that would be frightening to me. That would be frightening to me. And if you see some of the bravest people that I consider like in the world that are probably not Christians, I look at them and I'm like, that's like a brave dude, you know what I mean? Like I would fight next to that dude in a war, like a Braveheart type war, you know what I'm saying? That's not like a soy boy type person. I would stand shoulder to shoulder with that person, but they're not a Christian, but I still would. They're afraid. Those men are afraid because they see the writing on the wall. And I'm not going to get into the food factories. I'm not going to get into everything that everybody here has probably seen. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to talk about the food shortages or any of that stuff. You can go look at any channel talking about that and find out all that stuff. I'm just saying the writings on the wall and these men that don't have Christ are afraid. And I'm not. I think about it. I'm aware of it, but I'm not afraid of it because Jackie is sitting right here.
Hi guys.
Jackie and I have lived in Texas. We were there for about 2 weeks. The kids that we were living with that I thought were my friends had AC/DC posters on the wall that had the horns like the devil, and I asked the kid if he could just take it out of our room. He told us we were going to have a bedroom there, but he didn't. He gave us a loft, so we didn't even have a wall to our bedroom. It was very, so we're laying in the loft, and they're downstairs watching TV, and there was no privacy. That's not what we agreed upon when I moved 30 hours away from my home in New Hampshire to go move down there. And I said, can you just take this poster out of this room? And after that, it was very, very hard to live there because I had stood up for myself because even though I wasn't living perfectly, I didn't want like a satanic thing in the room where I was sleeping right by my head. And it was so difficult after that. And then I was told that I had to get 2 jobs right away. The kids stole my resume. I did get 2 jobs. I worked at the Dallas Opera House with Jackie. We were both bartenders there. And then I also was working at this place called Multiview, which was like Google, selling banner ads. And my first week of training, in fact, wasn't it my first day?
Yeah.
My first day of training, Jackie calls me from, who would you call me from?
I had to call my dad. I'm not very good at telling the story, but I broke down, it was 4 lanes down there on the highway. And I broke down. It was early in the morning, and I was in the fastest lane. We had a manual car, and someone who spoke Spanish pushed me into the barrier, and they let me use their phone. And thank goodness I knew like a little bit of Spanish so I could kind of help. So they let me use their phone to reach my dad, who contacted you
Okay.
to.
So, if you could hear Jackie just now, that was pretty complicated. And somehow, while I'm in training class, on like my first day of training at this job that I was forced to be at, our car broke down. And somehow, in the midst of that happening, and we're down in Texas, mind you, because the place we were living in New Hampshire, we could no longer live in because my parents moved to Florida so my dad could finish being a chef in college, and he was like 65, and this is after building a mansion like up in Lake Winnipesaukee, and so like a lot of things had transpired, and our lives were changing like so fast I can't even put like dates on it. And we just didn't have enough money to survive up here because it's so expensive to live in New England compared to in Texas. The rent's like half, but you still make the same amount of money. So we go down there. We thought everything's going to be fine. It wasn't fine. The car broke down. We ended up having no place to stay at the same time that the car broke down because I got in a fight with that kid and he told me to move out. So somehow, this girl that was in my training class, I opened the door and she goes, and I said what happened to the whole training class. It was so embarrassing. And she goes, don't worry. This girl goes, don't worry. I'll get you a place to stay at my hotel that I live in, and I'll give you a ride to work. And I'm like, what? Now, mind you, this girl had 3 Dewees, so every morning when we got in her car, I had to blow in her breathalyzer so that we could start the car to drive to work. And anytime that we had to drive to the Dallas Opera House to go bartending, we had to take a taxi. And the taxi driver was this Indian guy who was so nice. He drove 90 miles an hour all the time to get us to work on time, like literally 90. Jackie's laughing probably like that. She knows what I'm talking about. And we just thought he was a regular cab driver. Turns out he owned the whole cab company, and all these times that we needed to get somewhere, he would come pick us up and nobody else could get rides because all the cabs were booked. And we didn't even know how things worked down there, but he was telling us like this kind of stuff. He's like, yeah, you can't get a ride right now, but I'm going to come pick you up. And then he drove us to pick up our dog, Shay, that we have, like the border collie we have. He took us to pick her up because we didn't have a car. And mind you, we're living at a hotel. We're paying like $1,300 a month when rent down there is like $700 just to live in a hotel because we had nowhere else to go. So for like 9 months, we lived in this hotel. And it was nice. Like, it was nice. It had an in-ground pool and stuff. But we felt... We were like this close to being homeless. Like, you don't, I know some people on here know what that feels like to be homeless, and it's a horrible, like, life-sucking feeling to feel like you have nowhere to go. And so when I look at the world crumbling around me, around you, around everyone, I'm not afraid because I've seen the power of Jesus Christ. I've seen what he does. I've seen how he uses different scenarios and situations to make you have more faith in him. And it does. And there's countless court cases that we've had where we were afraid we were going to lose our kids, and we were afraid that we were going to, this and this and this. And Jesus just comes through. At every turn he comes through, and he's always taking care of you, and he's always faithful. And someday, there's a chance that all of us might lose everything we have because of our faith in Jesus Christ. And that is what he says is the trying of our faith and purifying us like gold in the fire. And that's when if it comes to that, that doesn't mean that I don't think that he took care of us. It means I know it's coming, and I'm cool with that because he said it was going to happen, and I believe him, and I'm cool with it, and I know that he prepared, like, me in advance to know that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, just got off on a tangent. But 2 shows I want to talk about that are about the metaverse. One is Halo, Episode 3. They cloned the head scientist, stab her in the eye with a needle, put her in this vat of goo, and basically it dies, and then it turns into this holographic artificial intelligence that then they put a microchip in the back of Master Chief's head And all of a sudden, the AI is fully compatible with the microchip that's in the back of his head. And this is on Paramount TV, which is the 22 stars of the fallen angels that came down from Mount Hermon. On this channel, Paramount, which just recently was released, that channel had never been a full channel where you pay to watch it and stuff like that. So on this, they merge, just like that show I told you about back in the day, the cartoon. They merge a chip in the back of your neck, just like Johnny Mnemonic with in The Matrix and all these other movies. Microchip back of the neck, hologram of AI. What did I tell you was going to happen with Obama? There's going to be a machine in Walmarts. They're already taking over the Walmarts down in Texas right now, and in the southern states, the military's already going into those and taking them over as we speak. I'm telling you right now. These machines are set up so that there's a hologram of Obama once he declares himself to be God or whatever. And people say, oh, it couldn't be Obama. Everybody hates him. I'm telling you that it's either right. There's going to be, there's like only two scenarios really that could be. We get raptured, 5 months, like Ken Peters said on the Prophecy Club, we get raptured. 5 months, the people that are left behind that are Christians that didn't give themselves fully to Christ, they preach to the people in the streets, and those people all become Christians too, and then they get their faith gets tested, because that's the hour of testing. The hour, I forget what it's called. Yeah, the hour of testing. Why does Jesus say, pray to be found worthy to escape all these things? I remember I told you this for I don't even know how long. I couldn't put my finger on it. What is it that's going to be like that thing? Why did I dream of 3 days of darkness? Why did I dream of Noah's Ark and all these things? All these things. On the channel on TikTok, that the person, all they do is put on people's prophecy dreams of what they've dreamt as far as who the Antichrist is, the wars coming, the famine coming, all these things. The common theme is an ark of some kind where God protects us. And that's my dream from 2 years ago. There's a literal ark that we are protected in. And I didn't realize it at the time. But in the beginning, before we went on the ark, we were all playing in the ocean. The ark was behind us as a boat. And there was a little landing pad, looked like a dock, where like a loading dock for trucks. Like there was a size like that, like with almost like concrete like this, but it was wood. And there's a little stairs to go up. And the rest of it was a solid wood boat, huge, like the ark. And we're in the ocean. I'm looking at the sun. In front of me, the sun, vast ocean in front of me with nothing in it. My mom's in a little tube, like playing in the water, and I didn't get this before. My mom doesn't listen to anything I say. Doesn't listen to anything I say. My dad doesn't listen to anything that I say. I try to preach to them. I try to talk to them. I try to say this is coming, and they're like, yeah. Same thing, like the same way most Christians act. Like it's, yeah, we know. But they don't prepare. They don't store food. They don't prepare anything that I've said to do. And even now they talk about chemtrails all the time, when before they thought I was nuts when I was talking about chemtrails. And all of a sudden now when they have a bad day and they can't breathe and stuff like that, they're like, oh, it must be the chemtrails. How long is it going to take for you to listen to me? It's like a 7-year delay. Like, this is coming now. You don't have time to think about it like you did with the chemtrail thing, where it's getting worse so bad. Like every day the sun's blocked out. It's like cloudy with a chance of rain every day now. It's like you wake up, it's sunny, and 5 minutes later it's like 4 jets, and all of a sudden there's no sun. They don't care. They don't care. And if anybody thinks that Trump is going to save that, he's going to stop it all, and there's tunnels, and they're saving the children and whatever. Fine. They're saving the kids. Well, I hope they're saving the kids, but if that's true, nothing's happening. Like there's nothing is changing. The only thing that's going to save us is Jesus Christ. That's it. There's no Saul. You shouldn't be looking at Saul. Look at Jesus Christ. He's the king that's going to save you, not some dude that asks for help from the Witch of Endor. It's not going to happen. The 5th level of Satanism is MAGA. Trump came off the elevator with Kanye West, and the dude had blonde hair and blue eyes. That's MK Ultra. The dude has a statue, a golden statue, which is one of the 10 commandments. Do not make graven images. He has a golden statue of Apollo, which is the devil, in his apartment that is made out of gold. The people that lay their hands on Trump and say that they're praying for him, that are supposedly Christians, are pastors that have proven themselves to be wolves in sheep's clothing. These are pastors that their husbands are on the pulpit with them. The female pastor, the blonde one, she's been married 3 times. I'm not judging people for being married 3 times, but a lot of people do. They're like, she's been married 3 times already. She's a multimillionaire. And her third husband's on the pulpit saying that you should let your husbands watch porn. Do you even understand the punishments in hell for watching pornography if you don't repent of your sins and change? If you're doing anything like these things that I'm talking about, you're not going to escape these things. You will be left outside the gate, and you will be one of the 5 foolish virgins that didn't have the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. And the Ruach HaKodesh is something that is so powerful, and that's what makes you cry when you hear things that are of God. That's what makes you seek after his face all the time and lets you have discernment of what is actually the word of God and what is true. And if you have that, you're not going to believe that Trump is going to save you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Dorothy. The husband of the blonde preacher that prays over Trump, go look at the picture. I don't know I forget her name is, White or something. That's her last name. Her husband was on the pulpit and said, you should let your husbands watch porn because that's what they want to do. It's nuts. These people are absolutely nuts. And when it talks about in the Bible, they've given people a license for lasciviousness. And when Jesus says that people say the fast does not abide for you, the fast that he's talking about is fasting from the world. If you read Barnabas, fasting is having a pure hand and a pure heart. And if you're looking at porn, men know what I'm talking about, and women probably do too. That is not what, there is a serious, punishment in hell for masturbating. We used to talk about it all the time in Christian school, and the pastors and preachers would tell us all about it, but they would be having affairs with 15-year-olds. So I've seen the hypocrisy in the church. I know it exists. I've seen it. I'm telling us we need to be different. We need to be a set-apart people. We need to be different. And if we don't talk about this stuff, then nobody is going to change. You need to expose this stuff and talk about it and tell people stop. Just stop doing it. And I'm not saying that it's easy, but if you don't want to go to hell, then cut off whatever things are causing you to sin and get rid of it. If you got to go to hell, go to heaven and be blind, it's better than going to hell with both eyes. It really is. If you've ever heard of people that talk about hell and what it was like, they're crying. They're crying because it was so horrible. They can't tell you how horrible it was. And just go watch any modern day concert. Go watch any modern day concert, whether it's, anything really. It doesn't matter what it is, and look what people are doing. They're all worshiping the people on stage just because they're singing music, and a lot of people that sing Christian music are just the same as the ones that sing worldly music. It's no different. They're worshiping these people that are on stage, and they're throwing up devil horn signs, and they're jamming out to this stuff yeah. But they wouldn't do that for Jesus. They wouldn't stick up for Jesus like that. They would never do something like that. It's sick. It's twisted. We are spirits inside of a flesh suit, and these people are worshiping something that has nothing to do with God at all. And then you wonder what's going to fill hell. What's going to be? Why is there seas of people inside of hell? And then you look at a Rage Against the Machine concert or a Nirvana concert, and there's a wave, you see a wave of people just like this, and they're just all you could see is people freaking out over this music. And I never got it. I just never got it. when I was even not living like a Christian when I was younger, like we were given M&M tickets or whatever, and we were there for 5 seconds, and I just left. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm never going to be part of that group that bows down to an idol of Nebuchadnezzar. They're just going to have to burn me, you know? And I'm cool with that. You know, I don't care anymore. I'm not afraid of it, you know? But people in this world, yeah, I heard that, Zach. I heard Cardi B said that about her song Manifesting Demons, and she's trying to warn people about it, which is kind of strange that people that are so MK Ultra satanically possessed that they even if Cardi B's one of the people that froze up on TV, and the people behind her saw that were her people, saw her freeze up, and they just start looking around like something happened, like, oh, what? They were talking like this, and they saw her freeze up, and they're like, whoa. But it was weird that they weren't looking at her, so how did they know she froze up? It's like their spirits heard it or something like that. Oh, that happened to me the other day. I told Jackie about this story, but I was at it's happened to me twice. I went to get a burrito or something at lunch, or a gyro or something at lunch. Standing right in line. Guy looks directly at me, walks right around me, goes and stands right in front of me. And I literally just said, like, so quiet, like this. I said, am I invisible? Just like that. Not me, nothing. Just said, am I invisible? And he goes, oh, I thought you were standing at the table. But there was a solid line to where I was. So the next day I went and I was getting a coffee in the morning. And the guy did go behind me after that. And yes, thank you, Dorothy. Actually, I was going to pronounce it that way, but I say it funny with an accent, so I didn't want to do that. So I'm getting coffee in the morning and a breakfast sandwich. I'm at the thing, and they keep the half and half behind the counter. So I had the half and half. This guy comes in. He's like, only saw him out of the corner of my eye, and he's like, huge guy. It must have been like probably 6'7", older guy. And I was done with the half and half, and he goes, excuse me, could I borrow that half and half? And I go, yeah, sure, here you go. And I said, you know what, thanks for asking. I really appreciate you, asking if you could have the half and half, because yesterday I was at a burrito place up the street, and the guy just walked right by me like it didn't exist. And I looked the guy dead in the face when I said it like this. And it's like something happened. I looked at the guy, and he was tall. Like I had to go like this to look up in his face. And when I said, when I was telling him the story, he looked at me, and then he focused right in my eyes. And he just went like, he was about to respond to me, but something happened, and he looked dead in my eyes. It was like he read my mind or something like that. And he just goes like this. He goes, like that. And he just froze and didn't talk, and he wouldn't say anything else. And I was like, did that just happen? Because I was walking by him as I was talking, and then he just did that with his eyes, froze up, and stopped talking. And I was like, what the heck just happened? And I literally couldn't tell you why these things are happening right now, but there's something going on in the spirit realm or something like that. And I know that I'm not the only one that thinks this, because I've had multiple people tell me that this is happening to them as well. And so, hold on one second. Yeah, I agree with that, Joshua, as well. So, hold on, scroll up so I can read that. I'm going to read that comment real quick that Joshua made. Joshua said that I believe America is being MK Ultra through the food we eat, GMO foods by the frauds in the FDA. Yeah, I believe that too. And real quick, somebody said that somebody was saying they're destroying the food plants to destroy our food, but somebody else has said that they're doing it because they don't want there to be any evidence of what they've been putting in our food. And I could see it go either way. So I can't really tell, but yeah, that's true. And he said Pentecost rapture in the movie Knowing. Um, so a lot of people have been talking about that. Another woman that I saw on TikTok recently, she's got a good map of it. Says that back in the day, and I said this just in conversation with my parents, and my mom like tweaked out, like tweaked out. So yeah, it might be pretty close to true. Um, Back in the day, when the Passover happened or whatever, they had to do a second Passover for the people that brought in the dead or whatever, because like they touched the dead body of Joseph when they were leaving or whatever, and so they had to have a second Passover for them. And so people say that like there's going to be a gap, and then Jesus is going to come on that second Passover after the dead body had been touched or something like that. I don't know. I'm just saying, like I don't know a lot about it, but like I said before, I didn't understand the rapture for a long time, and I really think that that's what's going to happen, is that the true followers of Christ during like a complete darkness. I don't know if it's going to be that first day or on the third day or what, but during a time of complete darkness, then the rapture is going to happen, and people are going to see it happen. And what they're going to do is try to explain it away. There's going to be like 3 or 4 months where there's no power, there's no nothing, and that's going to be the time for where there's no TVs, no nothing, and people are going to be freaking out. But there's also going to be a time when people are going to be repenting and turning to Christ. But then the New World Order is going to be back, like they're going to fix everything back to how they had it, turn the power back on, get everything back in order. It'll take them about 3 months, and then they're going to take everybody on those trains that have shackles to the FEMA camps. And there is a list. I have the list. There's a FEMA camp, if not more than one, in every single state. The one in New Hampshire is up by a lake that's up in near Canada. I've Google Earthed it many times. It's very hard to find where it is, but it's right. There's plenty of roads that are dead end roads with huge amounts of land around them up in Google Earth, and they can just put trees there on Google Earth anyway. So it's not like you can do that. Like you couldn't do that. My job used to be to like map people's driveways on Google Earth, so I'd spend all day on Google Earth, and you can even go back in time and see people's driveways from 10, 15 years ago, what they looked like then and what they look like now. So Google Earth is a powerful tool, and they can change and manipulate whatever they want. People have used flight patterns and things like that to prove that the Earth is flat using Google Earth. And there's plenty of people that have come out and said that the Earth is flat. Most people know. Shaquille O'Neal, who's a Mason, even said it on live TV. There's a bunch of Celtics players and different famous sports players that have come out and said it's flat. People know it's flat, but they want to hold on to the lie, and that's kind of how you can tell who's really part of the, whether they act like they're part of the Q people or whatever. You can tell if they're part of it or not because they admit the truth. Like, a lot of people will say, like Joe Rogan will talk about like NASA and like all this stuff, but then he'll try to be woke and talk about other stuff. They're all part of it. It's all a big game. Even the people like Shaq, who's a Mason, who says the Earth is flat, they're still part of it. You know what I'm saying? They just let out tidbits of little pieces of information, but they'll never like come out and totally expose it or anything like that. They just like throw out stuff here and there, and it's it kind of makes you like, because there's a lot of people that believe in flat Earth, but they don't believe in Jesus Christ. So it's almost like they're trying to reel in those people so that they don't go to Christ. You know what I mean? Like, because they might like listen to Shaq and they're like, oh, Shaq believes in flat Earth. Oh, I'll go that way. And then they get sucked into masonry and a lot of stuff like that. So, the devil is so sick and twistedly clever. It's like, it's just crazy. But yeah, sorry, I've been like ranting for an hour, but I haven't been on for so long. There's just so much stuff to talk about. Oh, but there's another show. I don't even know what channel it's on, and I forget the name of it. But in this show, it's like you go to this other place, and everybody might know what I'm talking about from what I explained. But basically, I think this kid was dying of some disease at the intro. He goes into this room, and what they do is they literally come down with a laser and they suck his full, like from here up, just like laser it off and it disappears. And that's exactly what the machine does in that where you bow to a hologram of Obama. And if you don't know this right now, there is so much technology out there right now that is using holograms. Like Cisco is like the main phone company for all phone technologies out there. Like most hospitals, most everybody uses Cisco. It's super expensive and they have so much money. They basically have a monopoly on the phone market. And they're developing for medical because people can't go to hospitals anymore, really. They're developing something that uses hologram technology through the metaverse and those goggles you put on, the VR goggles, they're where you can like look at operations being done. You can do like, they can do like show you virtually what's wrong with you and stuff like that using hologram technology. Hologram technology is what the plane was that crashed into the buildings in 9/11. But people don't know that. So imagine how advanced the technology is if they could do that. And then they're just now releasing just basic hologram stuff through glasses and what they're calling like a hybrid system. So like you can wear goggles where you can see like around you, like in Minority Report, but you can also see it's like Google glasses, but like a little more advanced than that. And basically like you could see this whole room, but it would target whatever things you want to like put focus on. All this stuff is like so far beyond advanced in reality, but what they're releasing to the public is even frightening, honestly. When I saw what they have the capabilities of doing, just go to any computer website. Just go to any computer like CNET or any of the places or whatever that like talk about technology, Wired, all these online magazines. Just go look at what's really happening right now. Go look at the technologies that they're pushing and stuff, what's really coming into play right now. Yeah, all of them are exactly what Tammy said. That is very true. And as soon as this happened, like the second this all happened in 2020 or whatever, there were white vans everywhere, from New York, New Jersey, and now you look on every building and all over the place, and there's little pads on buildings. That's what it is, guys. They had to build their infrastructure. The devil is not omnipresent. He's not. And he needs a grid to work on. He needs a grid. And somebody had a dream, I even played it, I think, on the channel. They had a dream that they had the chip, the microchip, or whatever they install into people. They were running, they had the people that, the powers that be, were in a lab watching this person run around in their head saying, I need to find the Christians, I need to find the Christians, I need to find the Christians. They hit a button, dude's head exploded. Killed him right there. That's what they want. They want complete control over your mind, body, and soul. And as soon as you give that to them, they will kill you. At any moment, they will kill you. That's what the movie, like, In Time or whatever, is about with Justin Timberlake, where they take away your time and then you die. That's what it is. The microchip thing. That's what it is. And the Rockefeller dude talked about it to his friend, and the friend came out and exposed him and said, "This is what their end game is to put something in people that, makes them totally controlled." And you like, no way they do that. And there's no way they would do that. Look around you. Tell them to do that in 5 seconds. And that was before they starve everybody. And just like there's 25 verses that talk about Og of Bashan, the giant, being alive during Noah's time, Abraham's time, and then Moses killed him. So Noah saved him. Abraham, he was a slave to Abraham and a servant to him. And then he rebelled against him, and then Moses had to kill him when the Israelites were trying to go into the land. 25 verses, 5 different books of the Bible. Just like that, there's 30 verses that talk about cannibalism in the Bible, that talk about they will put my children in the pot, and the woman that ate her child because Israel was being ransacked and they had no food. Also talks about in the end times that the children will consume their parents. Now think about that for a second. 30%, 35% of like millennials or younger kids, like 25 to 30, have moved back in with their parents. Okay? Now take away all their food. Take away the Taco Bell, the McDonald's, all the crap they've been eating that's been tampered with to already have other like human meat in it because they've tested it and it does. And then think about what that would do when you took it all away all of a sudden. Do you think people would eat their parents? I do. I think they would do it in like if they missed like 4 5 meals, I think they would do that. And there's probably maybe 500 different television shows about crimes and murders and all the different things that have happened over the centuries and all the things that have happened just in American culture in the past 100 years since we've been here. All the different murders and all the different like serial killers and stuff like that. And people love those shows. They just watch them like it's like, you know, grab some popcorn and let's watch a series about, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer and all the weird sick things he did and all that stuff. And that's just one of them. They talk about all the different serial killers. But if that's what the human being is capable of in a regular society, it's very possible that all people are capable of that kind of stuff if you took away the Holy Spirit from the earth, and then you also add in starvation, and then you add in war, and then you add in demonic activity on the earth because they opened CERN. I mean, this stuff is real. And the craziest part about this is that never mind all that, the Satanists are doing this as part of their own religious ceremonies. I mean, like, what's that girl's name that was in the Ninja Turtles? The one that, oh, I forget her name. You know what I'm talking about?
Takeshi?
No, but remember the one, she's like married to, or that she's like dating, Machine Gun Kelly. What's her name?
Megan Fox.
Oh yeah, thank you. Megan Fox. Megan Fox is on TV talking about how for religious purposes they drink blood. Thank you, Zach. For religious purposes they drink blood, her and Machine Gun Kelly. She said he's a little sicker than she is because he likes to cut himself or grab glass and cut himself and drink blood or whatever, or cut her or whatever. But yeah, exactly, Joshua. We are literally compared to the days of Noah. And as I mentioned before, I was driving down the road, the same road that I listen to the Super Gospel on every single night, my 2-hour ride home, going the opposite way. I was driving and I was coming around the corner and I said, Jesus, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do, God? And I just was crying out to God. And as I said this, I told you God shows me stuff on signs of a fully body wrapped Ford Focus wagon drove by brand new with a brand new wrap on it and said it was all like water. It was like water with these big, it was awesome. It was a sick wrap. And it said, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. It just said it all over the whole car. And I was like, okay. And this is before 2020. So like all this stuff happening right now had not happened yet. There was no pandemic. There was no nothing. So Jackie brought me out this book, The Travels of Noah into Europe. No, I'm gonna start reading now because I've been yapping for a long time. But I just had so much stuff that I wanted to talk about.
Sorry, guys. I ruined it.
You didn't ruin it. That's all right. Hold on. I want to see if there's any stuff that I highlighted further in the book. This whole book is about giants, by the way. Oh, it's fine. I gotta go through it after. Because the names are hard to go through. What is it?
My pen's a question.
Okay, so Mark said, what are your thoughts on them all being giants? Now, could you explain that, Mark, about that question specifically? Thoughts about who being giants? Because Adam is about 15 feet tall. He says it in the underworld when Jesus comes to save him. He looks at all the people and he's way bigger than all of them. Noah is about 10 feet tall, I think. It says people started shrinking. Even Og of Bashan was shrinking. So people started shrinking. Oh, it's this book. It's very thin too. It's a very small book. Oh, okay, the book you're talking about, Noah, everyone in the book. Yeah, most of the people in this book are giants. Like most of them, they were big people. They just were like not giants, not like giants like we would say but like Andre the Giant, like from the movie The Princess Bride, like the wrestler guy. He was like only like 7 feet tall, but he's a giant. His head was like 4 times bigger than the main character. But as far as a giant, like there's difference. Like you would say somebody that's 10 feet tall was a giant. So Noah technically in this is a giant, but he's not really from the Nephilim giants. You know what I'm saying? Just a big dude. So it says on page 64, this is a random passage from this, talking about the Trojans and stuff like that. The fifth king of Spain was Tagus, as Berosus and Diodorus deliver, which means it's in their writings as well. And he began his rule and government before the nativity of Christ, 1,803 years before the building of Troy. So that movie Troy is factual, historical, whatever, and it's telling you when it was compared to the birth of Christ. And it's just like crazy to me, like people, we all of our time is based off Jesus Christ. All of our entire society is based off Jesus Christ, but people still deny it. And even atheists admit that Jesus Christ was a real person that really did live. And of the king's name, that far-famed river Tagus taketh her name, in which were found many golden sands heaped together in many places of that river. See, that's the thing, is like, you have to go through this book so intricately, like, because like you could do a whole paragraph and it's just like all Greek type mythology type words and stuff like that. It's super complicated, and then you gotta break it down and be like, oh well, this person's really this person, and it's just complicated. So hold on a second. I just want to show you what this book is that I was talking about earlier. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, I got the fragmented Book of Giants too. I love that. It's in Enoch Book of Half. So, all right, so you can see this book, right? So, this is just goes through all the different like history of like signs and what they mean, right? Okay, so, and then as soon as you get to a certain point, it talks about the moon, the zodiac, all that stuff, right? Heaven and hell. See, heaven and hell's right there on that page. Talks about that, the signs and symbols of that. The 9 hells. See that in Aztec mythology, there were 9 hells through which the souls of the dead were conducted by a dog, which was sacrificed as part of a funerary ritual. Their souls were literally returning to the land from which they originated. After passing the 8th hell, the soul was plunged into the 9th, the eternal house of the dead. Now, there are 9 levels on the castle of Disney. Remember I told you that? That's Johnny Depp's in that movie, whatever it's called, I forget the name of it. That's about that same thing. Johnny Depp is a Satanist. This whole crap that's on TV is a giant play. The whole court case is a giant play. Just to distract you from what's really going on in the world. Because too many people are waking up. So, then when you get right here, right? This is crazy. Bunch of hands. It's kind of creepy. And then the next, all these pages right here, see it? All symbols of what certain things mean throughout history. Like a lot of pages of it. So I just want to show these things to people. So if you want to buy this book, you can, because it's very helpful. See the Eye of Osiris or whatever it is. It's very helpful to discern biblical and non-biblical books and understand what the heck is going on when you look at commercials and like stuff like that, and you're like, what the heck? Why do they have all this stuff in here? What does it mean? Where did it come from? Because we're living in the last days, the final days. But all the stuff that they put in these movies and shows and TV things and all this stuff comes from somewhere. It comes from the ancient past, the ancient history, and it means something, and they don't just put it in there for no reason. It has a very distinct reason. And even here it says the siren or mermaid, seen as the embodiment of the sexual side of the female, symbol of temptation, beauty, and otherness. That's the symbol for Starbucks, right? I mean, that's the symbol right there, but that's what the siren is, and that's what the Starbucks symbol is. So, but why? Then you wonder, why are people so addicted to it, right? Just crazy. And it's got sometimes serpent coiled around an egg, sometimes referred to as the cosmic egg, the Greek symbol of the world being protected by a cosmic serpent. Yeah, I'm sure the cosmic serpent is protecting all of us. But anyways, I just wanted you guys to see, I've talked about that book before, but a lot of times I refer to it when I'm looking at stuff, like not all the time, but like if I want to find out certain things. But all right, so real quick, this is the Strong's Concordance. When I came in here the other day, and I have this in here too, these are all the people of the Passion. You guys want to, if you're watching this at a later time and you want to pause it, these are all the people that are involved in the Passion of Jesus Christ, which is him dying on the cross. There are people on here that are not currently talked about, one of them being Veronica, Joseph of Arimathea, Nicodemus, Malchus. Talk about him once in a while, the dude that got his ear fixed. And that's about it. Oh, and I read on my TikTok, I don't know if I didn't upload it here yet, but I read from the Arco volumes, this. I'm going to read that real quick because this is powerful, and I didn't get a chance to read it on my TikTok yet. I did the, I did do, I'm going to read this last part of this. So this is Caiaphas, or, sorry. Yeah. So Caiaphas is, I always get this mixed up. Caiaphas is actually the son-in-law, not the older guy, the younger guy. And Annas is the older guy, I guess, that betrayed, like, turned Jesus and put him on the cross and all that stuff. So it says, this is his personal confession. This book is highly contested. People say it's not true. This is powerful. I'm going to read this real quick. So this is the last portion of this. He had already talked about interviewing people. He talked to like all these people and stuff like that. This is what happens. He's in his room by himself at the end. In this state of conscious dread, I remain investigating the scriptures to know more about the prophecies concerning this man, but found nothing to satisfy my mind. I locked my door and gave the guards orders to let no one in without first giving me notice. While thus engaged with no one in the room but my wife and Annas, her father. See, so Annas was the older, his wife's father. So that's the older guy. I always confuse that in my mind. When I lifted up my eyes, behold, Jesus of Nazareth stood before me. My breath stopped, my blood ran cold, and I was in an act of falling. When he spoke and said, "Be not afraid, it is I. You condemned me that you might go free. This is the work of my Father." So you hear that? This is the work of my Father. So God is the one that turned his heart to kill Jesus. Because it had to be that way because, listen why. This is the work of my Father. See, this is what Jesus said his only wrong is. Your only wrong, he didn't condemn him for that, for killing him. Your only wrong is you have a wicked heart. Okay, now pause. In the epistle of Barnabas, what does Jesus say that people have done? They say that the fast is no longer, and what is a true fast? A true fast is having a pure hand and a pure heart. So they say the fast doesn't abide anymore, which means that It's the license for immorality. It's once saved, always saved. It means that you can just be whoever you want to be and do whatever you want to do, which is what Satan said, which is what Aleister Crowley said, which is do as thou wilt. It's the opposite of what Jesus teaches, that you must repent and turn from your ways and change and be made new, be born again, which is what he said to to Nicodemus in the middle of the night. The reason he told Nicodemus that in the middle of the night is because Nicodemus, being a leader of the people, didn't know that you must be born again in the Spirit. And the reason it was at night is because this is the night. This time, before people realize all this stuff, that's the night. And the day, we are the children of the day, which is when you realize all this stuff and then you have rested, which is the Sabbath, which is the true spiritual day of rest, which has not happened because we're not purified yet. If you think that, it says it in Barnabas, if you think that you can truly rest before you have been made pure, you're wrong. All these people that are Seventh-day Adventists they're trying to do the right thing. They're just not, because you can't truly rest on the Sabbath until you have been made pure. The Sabbath is the 7th millennia. Although it is you worship God and rest on the 7th day because the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So if you're tired and you should rest and be with your family one day a week, that's a good thing. But it's not like a religious thing where if you don't do it, God's going to hate you. There's a lot of people that have to work 7 days a week just to take care of their families. You think God's going to punish those people and not think that they're good people anymore? But anyway, so back to the text. Your only wrong is you have a wicked heart. This you must repent of. This last lamb you have slain is the one that was appointed before the foundation. That's Revelation, right? Who is worthy to open the book? And it talks about in other texts at the beginning, God and Jesus decided to do this at the beginning, before the foundation of the earth was laid. So why would you need a foundation if the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour and all the math adds up to 666? Why would you have to lay a foundation? Because a table has a foundation, a house has a foundation, and guess what? It doesn't move. It's not spinning. This sacrifice is made for all men. Your other lambs were for those who offered them. This is for all. This is the last. What does Jesus say? I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. It is for you if you will accept it. I died that you and all mankind might be saved. At this he looked at me with such melting tenderness that it seemed to me I was nothing but tears, and my strength was all gone. I fell on my face at his feet as one that was dead. When Annas lifted me up, Jesus was gone, and the door still locked. No one could tell when or where he went. So, noble masters, I do not feel that I can officiate as a priest anymore. If this strange personage is from God and should prove to be the Savior we have looked for so long, I have been the means of crucifying him. I have no further offerings to make for sin, but I will wait and see how these things will develop. And if he proves to be the ruler that we are looking for, they will soon develop into something more grand in the future. His glory will increase, his influence will spread wider and wider until the whole earth shall be full of his glory, and all the kingdoms of the world shall be his dominion. Such are the teachings of the prophets on this subject. Therefore you will appoint Jonathan or someone to fill the holy place. We found soon after that Jonathan became high priest, though history teaches us differently. So as you can see, Jesus forgave even the people that crucified him. All right, ready? So it says, so this is from the Acta Pilate, or the Pilate's report to Caesar of the arrest, trial, and crucifixion of Jesus. So I'm just going to go to the part where Jesus talks to Pilate for a second. Hold on one second. I got to skim through this. Talks about all the things that Pilate did when he came into the land or whatever. Wait one second. Says that Jesus of Nazareth spoke rather as a friend of the Romans than of the Jews. One day, in passing by the place of Siloa, where there was a great concourse of people, I observed in the midst of the group a young man who was leaning against a tree, calmly addressing the multitude. I was told it was Jesus. This I could easily have suspected, so great was the difference between him and those listening to him. His golden-colored hair and beard gave to his appearance a celestial aspect. He appeared to be about 30 years of age. Never have I seen a sweeter or more serene countenance. What a contrast between him and the hearers, with their black beards and tawny complexions. Unwilling to interrupt him by my presence, I continued to walk by, but signified to my secretary to join the group and listen. My secretary's name is Manlius. He's the grandson of the chief of the conspirators who encamped at Utria waiting for Catiline. Manlius had been for a long time an inhabitant of Judea and is well acquainted with the Hebrew language. He was devoted to me and worthy of my confidence. On entering the praetorium, I found Manlius, who related to me the words of Jesus had pronounced in Siloa. Never have I read the works of the philosophers anything that can compare to the maxims of Jesus. One of the rebellious Jews, so numerous in Jerusalem, having asked Jesus if it was lawful to give tribute to Caesar, he replied, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." It was on this account of wisdom of his saying that I granted so much liberty to the Nazarene, for it was in my power to have him arrested and exiled to Pontus, but that would have been contrary to the justice which has always characterized the Roman government and all of its dealings with men. This man was neither seditious nor rebellious. I extended to him my protection, unknown to perhaps himself. He was at liberty to act, to speak, to assemble and address the people, and to choose disciples, unrestrained by any praetorian mandate. Should it ever happen, I say that the religion of our forefathers will be supplanted by the religion of Jesus. It will be to this noble toleration that Rome shall owe her permanent death, while I, miserable wretch, will have been the instrument of what the Jews call providence and we call destiny. This unlimited freedom granted to Jesus provoked the Jews not to the poor but the rich and powerful. It is true Jesus was severe on the latter, and this was a political reason, in my opinion, for not restraining the liberty of the Nazarene. Scribes and Pharisees, he would say to them, "You are a race of vipers. You resemble painted sepulchres. You appear well unto men, but you have death within you." At other times he would sneer at the alms of the rich and proud, telling them that the mite of the poor was more precious in the sight of God. Complaints were daily made at the praetorium against the insolence of Jesus. I was even informed that some misfortune would befall him, that it would be not the first time that Jerusalem had stoned those who called themselves prophets. An appeal would be made to Caesar. However, my conduct was approved by the Senate, and I was promised a reinforcement after the termination of the Parthian War. Being too weak to suppress an insurrection, I resolved upon adopting a measure that promised to restore the tranquility of the city without subjecting the praetorium to humiliating concession. I wrote to Jesus requesting an interview with him at the praetorium. He came. You know that in my veins flowed the Spanish mixed with Roman blood, and as incapable of fear as it is to weak emotion. When the Nazarene made his appearance, I was walking in my basilisk, and my feet seemed fastened with an iron hand to the marble pavement, and I trembled in every limb as does a guilty culprit, though the Nazarene was as calm as innocence itself. When he came up to me, he stopped, and by a signal sign he seemed to say to me, "I am here," though he spoke not a word. For some time I contemplated with admiration and awe this extraordinary type of man, a type of man unknown to our numerous painters who have given form and figure to all the gods and the heroes. There was nothing about him that was repelling in its character, yet I felt too awed and tremulous to approach him. Jesus said, I unto him at last, and my tongue faltered, "Jesus of Nazareth, for the last 3 years I have granted you ample freedom of speech, nor do I regret it. Your words are those of a sage. I know not whether you have read Socrates or Plato, but this I know. There is in your discourses a majestic simplicity that elevates you far above those philosophers. The emperor is informed of it, and I, his humble representative in this country, am glad of having allowed you that liberty of which you are so worthy. However, I must not conceal from you that your discourses have raised up against you a powerful and inveterate enemies. Nor is this surprising. Socrates had his enemies, and he fell a victim to their hatred. Yours are doubly incensed against you on account of your discourses, because so severe upon their conduct against me on account of the liberty I have afforded you. They even accuse me of being indirectly leagued with you for the purpose of depriving the Hebrews of the little civil power which Rome has left them. My request, I do not say my order, is that you be more circumspect and moderate in your discourses in the future, and more considerate of them, lest you arouse the pride of your enemies, and they raise against you the stupid populace, and compel me to employ the instruments of the law. The Nazarene calmly replied, Prince of the earth, your words proceed not from true wisdom. Say to the torrent to stop in the midst of the mountain gorge, it will uproot the trees of the valley. The torrent will answer you that it obeys the laws of nature and the Creator. God alone knows whither flow the waters of the torrent. Verily I say unto you, before the rose of Sharon blossoms, the blood of the just shall be spilt. Your blood shall not be spilt, said I with deep emotion. You are more precious in my estimation on account of your wisdom than all the turbulent and proud Pharisees who abuse the freedom granted them by the Romans. They conspire against Caesar and convert his bounty into fear, impressing the unlearned that Caesar is a tyrant and seeks their ruin. Insolent wretches! They are not aware that the wolf of the Tiber sometimes clothes himself with the skin of the sheep to accomplish his wicked designs. I will protect you against them. My praetorium shall be an asylum, sacred both day and night. Jesus carelessly shook his head and said with a grave and divine smile, When the day shall have come, there will be no asylums for the Son of Man, neither in the earth nor under the earth. The asylum of the just is there, pointing to the heavens. That which is written in the books of the prophets must be accomplished. Young man, I answered mildly, you will oblige me to convert my request into an order. The safety of the province which has been confided to my care requires it. You must observe more moderation in your discourses. Do not infringe my order. You know the consequences. May happiness attend you. Farewell. Prince of the earth, Jesus replied, I come not to bring war into the world, but peace, love, and charity. I was born the same day on which Augustus Caesar gave peace to the Roman world. Persecutions proceed not from me. I expect it from others, and will meet it in obedience to the will of my Father, who has shown me the way. Restrain, therefore, your worldly prudence. It is not in your power to arrest the victim at the foot of the tabernacle of expiation. So saying, he disappeared like a bright shadow, being behind the curtains of the basilisk, to my great relief, for I felt the heavy burden on me of which I could not relieve myself while in his presence. So then after that, he obviously is crucified. So the Gospel of Gamaliel and the Lament of the Virgin and the martyrdom of Pilate. In this, Pilate is crucified, almost crucified in Judea, Jerusalem, wherever, and then not crucified because Jesus tells him he's not going to be killed there, because Pilate becomes a Christian after he kills Jesus, and then Jesus says, because you did that, you're going to be killed, but not here. They're going to take you to Rome, and then they're going to crucify you, which happened. So you can read that book, which coincides with the Arco volume, and so this hold on a second. Oh, books are falling. Oh. Alright, so if you have this book, Super Gospel, Arco volume, this tells you the full story of what happened to Pilate. Why he was crucified, why he was allowed to kill Jesus, what his part in it was. He saw everything that happened. It was a true first-hand account. And remember it said that he said on the earth or below the earth, and it says the prophecies of the prophets must be fulfilled. Hold on a second. Census Latin A, Census Latin B, the underworld. Following him, Isaiah likewise said to them, When I lived upon the earth, I spoke of this through the divine inspiration. For did I not say to you, the dead will arise, and all who are entombed will again rise up, and the peoples of the earth and those beneath will rejoice as one, for the dew of the Lord will heal them all. Now, Robert talks about that real quick, what dew is. I was just thinking about this earlier. Dew is water. And remember, it's the washing of the word. When you have dew, it sits on something, and you can look into it, and it magnifies the thing that you're looking at. It's like the dew of the Lord is when you take a closer look by magnifying it. And somehow, the dew is like what's going to heal, the water is going to heal all the people. And that's what's going to be coming. Like, remember I said we keep seeing Noah, like all the time. Like, for instance, today I went and got a free boat on Craigslist, and I came home and it was on the top of my car, and I didn't even get in my house, and my neighbor goes, haha, you're like, that's so funny, Noah. I'm like, what? He called me Noah. Like, it was just like a paddle boat. It didn't even look like a Noah's Ark type of boat, but why would he say that? And my coworker at my last job looked just like Jesus did, but his name was Noah. And like for days and days and days, all I keep seeing on everything, and I'm not even looking for it, just keeps happening, is Noah. It's like we're living in those times, but we do not have to be afraid. And I'm sure that Noah went through some serious crap every single day with people taunting him and making him feel like horrible, and like it tests your faith, just like it's testing all of our faith all the time. And I know personally all the people that I talk to that are my friends that we're all being tested. And it's not easy, but these people that were in the underworld waiting for Jesus to come and save them, they lived way better than we do. The saints and all the people except Enoch and Elijah were waiting in the underworld for Jesus to fulfill his prophecy, the 5,500-year promise that he made to all the people. And in my opinion, that is something that people don't take into account when they read Revelation, that these people that were in the underworld they rose from the dead, and they were on the earth walking around. And that's what Caiaphas said in his report, that there were so many people walking around on the earth. Like, one of them was Job, and he died 3,500 years ago, and he was walking around on the earth, and they all saw him walking around. So can you imagine all those people that were dead are alive now, and Jesus included, walking around and talking to people? And we as Christians in the modern day world don't talk about this. We don't talk about those people that rose from the dead, and were walking around giving a first-hand account of being in the underworld, and Satan and death were defeated, and Jesus came down and broke the gates of brass, fulfilling Revelation 1:18. Why don't people talk about that, or give it any credence, or talk about the fact that it might have a severe bearing on the scriptures of Revelation and the New Testament? That's the third testament. That's what fulfills Matthew 13:33, but we don't talk about it. So our entire religion currently is going to be turned on its head. And Robert Farrell talks about this all the time, and he wrote this book. So I'm sure with spending 12, 15 years, 20 years, compiling all these pieces of scripture, putting Jesus's stripes back on his skin, his body, which is, I say that, but it's true. Like, think about it. Jesus's body is the word. So if they took lashes and they ripped all of his skin off of his back, and they beat him and pummeled him, and we have the power now through his word to put that back together and to complete the word and to fix it like he wanted it to be fixed. He gave us that power. And he said in the Nag Hammadi Codices that through the power of the gospel, the true gospel that has been hidden, we have the power to defeat the archons. And yet, they can kill us, but who gives a crap about them killing us? This isn't about now. This is about us building that church, that spiritual, real church that is spoken of in the Shepherd of Hermas in 1, 2, and 3. And if you haven't read the Shepherd of Hermas 1, 2, and 3, it's powerful, and you should. And you should also read the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th book of Enoch, because there's a lot of books of Enoch that we don't even have. So read the at least ones we have. And when you read it, don't think of it when you're reading it like a religious person. Think of it like Jesus wants to tell me something. My God wrote books that I need to read. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, when Jesus said that the prophets have to be fulfilled, one of those prophets is Isaiah. David is right here saying, then another came forward who was set apart by a regal appearance. So apparently in the underworld, David still looked like a king. His name was David, and he cried out, you who are blind, do you not know that when I lived in the world above, I was the one who spoke the word? Lift up your gates, you rulers. I made known the mercy of God even as I walked the earth, foretelling of the future joy, and also of his coming, saying, let them throughout all the ages confess to the Lord of his tender mercies and wonderful works on behalf of the sons of men. For he has shattered the gates of brass, destroyed the bars of iron, and raised them from their wicked ways. That fulfills Revelation 1:18 as well right there. That is literally what it says, like the keys of hell and death. The gates of brass are broken. Go just Google search how many times it mentions the gates of brass in the Bible and how many prophets spoke it, and then where's the story? It's not there. It's in the Gospel of Nicodemus, which is also called the Acts of Pilate. And I just read to you part of Pilate's diary that says that he talked to Jesus, and Jesus said that like above the earth and under the earth, he's talking about what's going to happen. He's talking about him going in the tomb for 3 days under the earth, and that is also what happened to the word. For 3 days in Peter, it says 3 days are as 1,000, a day is as 1,000 years with the Lord. So that means that the 3 days Jesus was in the underworld is prophetic as to what is going to happen to the word of God. It was in the earth in jars, and it was dug up on the third day, which is 1949, which is right a year after Israel became a nation. Regardless of if those people are valid people or not, they were prophetically sent back into the land to make that timeline happen where we are the fig tree generation. And it talks about when you see the leaves of the tree and the all that stuff, that's talking about the elect that are going to be talking about these books. And there's a very few people that are going to be talking about this stuff. But whenever the 144,000 show up and Enoch and Elijah show up to fight the Antichrist and the flames come out of their mouth to like fight them all, what do you think they're going to be talking about? What do you think they're going to be saying? Why are all the people that are saying that you should do the current thing that's being pushed around the world are false prophets like T.D. Jakes, Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen? All these people are false prophets, and they are all pitching the same crap, and they've been pitching the same crap. Send me money, send me money, send me money. It's not about money. Our treasure is not money. Our treasure is a spiritual treasure that is in heaven, where moth and rust do not corrupt and thieves cannot break through and steal. Your treasure is something that is eternal. Your lessons here on earth are eternal. What you learn here is going to carry with you. And the people that are evil are going to forget even the people that they love, and all the people that they like on this earth. It's going to be forgotten, and they get nothing. They literally get nothing. They can't take anything with them. It's like Monopoly. When you're all done playing the game, you put it all back in the box. That's it. Done. Jeremiah. Then each of the righteous forefathers started to recognize one another and to recite their respective prophecies. See, that's what Jesus said. The holy Jeremiah, going over what he had said, then addressed the other patriarchs and prophets, saying, when I lived in the world above, I forspoke of the Son of God, of his coming to this earth, and of the way that he would speak unto men. And when the saints heard that Isaiah had said, because I'm skipping Isaiah, I just read that, they all started prodding Hades, open up your gates, for now you are vanquished. From now on you are to be weak and defenseless. Then all of the saints, basking in the light of the Lord before the eyes of our father Adam, responded to all that the patriarchs and prophets had said, cried out, hallelujah, blessings on the one who comes bearing the name of the Lord. Now their shouts started Satan trembling and seeking some means of escape, but because Hades and his minions had him all bound up and kept in the underworld, surrounded and guarded on every side, all his efforts were for naught. What has gotten you shaking, they taunted. We're not about to let you out. Take what you've got coming to you, for the one you attacked each and every day. And of this you can be sure, he will bind you up and deliver you into my hands. So you can see Jesus was prophesied to do what he did in the underworld. He died on the cross, then he went to get the saints. You pay for it, you go get it. That's what it is. And nobody talks about this. And it's even written in the scriptures because it's in Revelation. It's in all the books. It was in the Old Testament and it was in the New Testament, and it's in the books removed as well. They're one thing. God the Father, God the Son, God the Comforter, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, which is feminine. It's a feminine aspect of God. It's not the New Age crap that they tried to do. And obviously the devil will try to do that. He twists everything. He twists everything in your own life. Look at what he does to your family. Look what he does to your friends. Look what he does to everybody. He makes everybody that's your friend jealous of you. Yeah, the 5,500 years from Adam, Jamie, exactly. That's the prophecy Jesus made to Adam. Multiple times, too. He said it like multiple times. He said it like before he messed up, when he messed up, and like after he messed up. He said he would save him. But Adam forgot. When he was dying, he forgot that he had said it. It's 1,000 years later, I guess I would have forgot too. Or 960 years later, because he didn't live a full day. But anyways, we're at an hour and 40. I'm going to head out. I got to get some sleep. But God bless you guys. Thanks for coming, Jackie. Say... Oh yeah, let's pray. But Jackie, say bye.
Bye guys. Sorry if I ruined the show.
Jackie's barely on and she thinks she ruined it. All right, guys, let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for this day, and thank you for letting everybody be able to gather together tonight. And for all those that come later to watch this, I pray that you be with all of us. Thank you for answering my prayers and for helping Jojo in his court case. And I just pray that you please help Tasha and her children. And I pray that you please be with everybody here tonight, Lord, and guard them and protect them. And cover us all with your blood during these times ahead. And please, Lord, I pray that we all be found worthy to escape all these things, and that we forgive, and that we don't hold grudges against people, and that we be like you are, where you forgave even the person that murdered you, Lord, and the people that were mocking you and spitting on you at the cross. And thank you for doing what you did that we can't ever replicate, not even 1 second of your holy, perfect life. And I just pray that people might look to you and remember these things when they get mad at people around them that are ignorant of the truth, and help us to remain in your wisdom and in your peace, and that we might truly rest in our spirits. I just thank you, Jesus, for doing everything that you've done, both on the cross and through these thousands of years that you've been patiently waiting for these things to happen. I thank you that you didn't listen to the devil when he asked you to make the bread from the stones. I just thank you that you waited so long so many more people could come into your kingdom, Lord, and know the truth. And I just pray that you watch over us all. In your name I pray. Amen. Thank you guys for coming tonight. I appreciate it. We love you all too. Thank you. If I didn't get a chance to say to all of you, it's been a pleasure just being a part of this channel with all of you as friends. And if we never get to talk to each other again after whatever show is our last show, I just pray that you all remain safe, and don't forget that the meek will inherit the earth. So just stay humble. Thanks, guys. God bless you all. Take care.